Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. After many hours of technical difficulty, Kristen Keltz and I finally decided to hit record. I'm exaggerating, it was just a few minutes. Kristen is the CEO for the Skagit Tourism Bureau. So Kristen, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to sit down and chat with you today.
So what's the difference? Let me ask this clarifying question. What is the difference between the Skagit Tourism Bureau and the Chambers of Commerce's in Skagit County?
Well, that is a great question. And I think I can speak to that probably pretty clearly as I served as a CEO for the Mount Vernon Chamber for, nearly 14 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So our Chambers of Commerce serve a very crucial role in each of our communities. We've got 6 Chambers of Commerce, and they are really integral in our business community. So they're providing networking opportunities, government advocacy, workforce development, all of those crucial things within those. They're a membership organization. They do have, a little bit of marketing arms to market their cities. And so we partner very closely with them. While the Tourism Bureau is that destination management organization. And so we look at the entire county. We don't have membership. We've got our stakeholders in which we represent the tourism business, right? We are here to promote overnight stays and experiences in Skagit Valley for those businesses. So, there might be a couple tiny things we overlap in, but we work very, very closely and hand in hand on. So we, work. I work closely with their workforce development arms because obviously hospitality is a huge driver of jobs in our community, and I think they serve a really key role and
Okay.
But definitely different missions and focuses for sure.
So we were introduced through Katie, who works for a PR
Mm-hmm.
firm that you guys are organizing with. So
Yep.
she probably didn't warn you that I'll ask a question, you'll answer me, and then I'm going to go in a completely different direction. You answered a question there about tourism being, important for employment. Ballpark, what is the percentage that tourism plays in Skagit County?
It plays a pretty decent role. I do have those numbers. I can.
Okay,
If you
I'm
give
just
me
curious.
just.
It's interesting because so I grew up in the Tacoma area, Pierce County,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
when I think of Skagit County, I think of the 5 miles on either side of I-5. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I think Mount Vernon. I think LaConner. There's a place in Conway called the Conway Muse, which is a
Yep.
great musical venue. I love going up there to see live music. But
Yep.
I didn't even realize that this is embarrassing. I didn't even really think that concrete was in Skagit County. So I'm telling you that my perception of Skagit County is this narrow corridor. There's much more to it than that.
Much, much more. So, the share of employment for tourism is almost 4%. So it's a pretty decent share.
Yeah.
For that. So, and that is hospitality, jobs, restaurants, attractions, tour companies, things like that. So while it's not, our top, it definitely has an impact in our communities. But yeah, we cover a vast amount of geography in Skagit Valley, all the way from Anacortes, all the way up, past New Halem, up into Diablo, as you get into, the pass at Highway 20 and everything in between. So we always like to say, if you're a local, you're coming home when you come over that hill in Conway off of I-5. And, you see the valley and it just kind of opens up and you can see the water on to the west and the mountains to the east. And it's a pretty vast and amazing county that we cover.
Yeah, the topography there's different. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just which is a good thing, by the way. That's a good different,
Yeah.
It's just interesting to me. When I was in college, I had friends that had a house in Bow, and
Mm-hmm.
so we would go up there, once again driving through the highway part, just not, and it's just interesting to me the differences. Yesterday when we were talking on the phone, you made the comment, and I'm paraphrasing for you, basically from the sea to the mountains, and I had never really. Once again, yes, I thought of it, but I never connected the dots, if you will. And then now you said, Diablo, and I'm like, you guys go all the way, which makes perfect sense that you would go up there because Okanagan County is on the other side. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
creep over the summit, so it makes
Yep.
sense. All right.
Yeah, there's a little piece, and we tease. We have a great relationship with our neighbors, to the north in Whatcom County. But there's a small piece that kind of comes down, and you cross into Whatcom County and then come back into Skagit. But we tease them that we'll just claim that as our own, since you can't really get there from Whatcom County anyway. So
Yeah, when we were laying out the maps, who would have, sometimes we
right.
question the whole, all right. What got you into, what's your career path like? Fast forward, let's do it really super compressed. But how did you become the CEO of the bureau? What led you here?
So everybody teases me that my career path led me to this seat. It really just could not have been any better. So I started in the hospitality industry, working when I was going to Skagit Valley College. I was working at a small little boutique hotel in La Conner. I then moved to a larger convention hotel in Mount Vernon. Worked there for about 8 years, and moved myself up the ranks from front desk to front desk manager, and then director of sales and marketing. Did a lot of statewide work with the Best Western Co-op team, and then had the opportunity to take the helm at the Mount Vernon Chamber, and that really opened a lot of doors. And after I left there, I got back into hospitality. I just kind of seemed to gravitate towards that. It's just a really great passion of mine. Spent about 6 years with a hotel management company as their regional director of sales and marketing, overseeing a team of sales or 9 hotels with sales team. And then did a brief stint as the CEO of Spinach Bus Venture Group. My husband is a partner at that venture capital company, and they own some tourism-related companies, a tulip farm and a retail garden center and a flour mill. And so that was really educational, and spent a couple of years doing that. And when this position opened up, I had really been kind of a part of this whole building of this organization and getting things going. And I got a little bit of a nudge, and folks said, "Hey, this just is really where you need to be."
Okay.
And it has by far been the best decision I think I have ever made in my entire career.
So how long have you been sitting in that seat?
January 1st of 2024. So just under a year.
Just under a year. Okay. Well, that's, in most jobs after 11 months or so, as we're recording this, sometimes the honeymoon period's over and we're like, okay, now it's a job. But you seem genuinely like this is where you should be.
This is definitely where I should be. I absolutely love it. Every day is, we're working on some great projects, and everything's, fun, and we're doing things to help support people in their businesses, and, create jobs, and help people, keep jobs in this industry that I have been a part of for, better 30 years. So.
Okay. Let me, I kind of have a rhythm, but you've thrown me off. And so I'm going to, no, that's actually okay. This is going to be kind of fun. And because you just, she's drinking coffee, everyone. I just have to disclose that. So since she's drinking coffee, I have to ask the question I normally ask much later in the conversation, but put you on the spot. Skagit County. You can't, I know you're not going to name one. I'm not asking you to name one. I'm going to ask you to give me some choices. I love coffee, and I'm going to challenge you. This is the challenge. It's a little variation of my question. Remember, I told you my knowledge of Skagit County is kind of the I-5 thing.
Yep.
Stretch me out of my comfort zone, but help me find coffee in Skagit County. Where's some great coffee shops up there?
Oh my gosh, I could probably spend an entire half-hour segment
Let's do it.
cool little coffee shops in the valley. Anacortes is a waterfront community and just really quaint. They've got this amazing historic downtown area and some great coffee shops down there. They've got you know, Penguin Coffee. They've got a really cool coffee shop with that's inside of a bookstore.
Okay.
That is, you walk in and it's just, you just get this feeling of cozy, fun, where you can just sit and grab a book. People meet up there all the time. It's Pelican Bay books. It's just phenomenal. There's, of course, downtown Mount Vernon, there's Pelican Bay, I just said that, Ristretto Coffee downtown is a meeting spot. Just everyone, you go there and people are sitting there working, or, you run into everyone. We've got Woodby Coffee in Burlington, that they built a really cool the fireplace and couches and a little meeting room where people meet up, and you go in, and again, I love walking in and seeing everybody I know. So Cedro Woolley, we've got and I'm gonna fail on the name of it, but there's a really cute little coffee shop at a pharmacy. And so people have gotten so creative. Schaffner Pharmacy, and they've got just a little coffee shop. You can grab a coffee. They've got a little gift shop, and folks are grabbing their things. So, it's just every community. Folks have just done a really great job, and you can go up to Concrete, and
Okay, help me out here. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
First off, I'm going to add a comment. Number one, books and coffee, kind of cliched, well done. And I'm a coffee nut. I love coffee. In fact, I wrote a series of articles, 100 coffee shops in 100 days. I traveled the state, went to, so it's a lot of these places that you've named, I've heard of or have been to. I have never in my travels heard of a coffee shop and a pharmacy. Like that to me is like, okay, there we go. Not a combo that I think goes together. Putting you on the spot though, Concrete. I drove through there this spring. I drove over the North Cascades for the first time ever, which was amazing. And we've talked about that a lot on the episodes. I'll spare everybody my gushing for the Cascades Highway. If you haven't done it, don't wait. I regret my choices. I stopped in Concrete because I wanted coffee. Okay. And I was a little disappointed that I wasn't welcomed with a dozen coffee shops. I'm kidding. But I did find one place, and I'm going to put you on the spot because I can't think of the name of it.
Was it 5 B's Bakery?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I was so one question I didn't ask you earlier. So have you lived your entire life in Skagit County, basically?
I have been here about 31 years, but I was born and raised in Oak Harbor, so I didn't really go too far. So Oak Harbor's, 45-minute drive away.
Right. So you're a local. Okay. Why on earth is there a gluten-free business in Concrete, Washington? That blew my mind. My wife eats gluten-free, and so I brought home a box full of gluten-free desserts, which I earned good points. That place is amazing. But Concrete, Washington, I would have never expected that ever.
It is amazing. They I think they do some wholesale, but they are. And every time I go there, they are busy. People know about them. they've really made a name for themselves in that, gluten-free market. And yeah, you eat stuff and you're like, this does not at all taste gluten-free.
Well, I had no
Yeah.
idea what I was going into. I just walked in and said, hey, they have coffee. I'm going to go in, and I walk into this place and I started talking to somebody and she explains to me that everything in here is gluten-free. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And it was in concrete, and no
Yeah.
disrespect to concrete. It's just not something I expect to see in like Seattle, Bellingham, Olympia, Spokane, not in a
Yep.
small little community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah. No, concrete has really emerged as an amazing little town. I don't know if you saw, the Concrete Theater.
I did not see that.
They have they've got a historic theater that a couple purchased several years ago. That Val was born and raised in Concrete and went away and then came back, and they purchased this building and have restored it. It's incredible. They do ton of community events and stuff there.
Great.
And then they created an ice cream shop right next to it, and they have the best ice cream. They bring in from Wisconsin. Let me tell you, if you're an ice cream connoisseur, it's pretty phenomenal.
I'm not a connoisseur, but I'm a consumer. So I win. Or I'm going to win there. All right.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the county, throughout the county, in most of our communities, we've got some interesting little coffee shops. Now, for you personally, when you go to and you're having coffee, what's your go-to coffee drink?
I'm pretty boring. I have one drink. I'm not really allowed to have a lot of caffeine, so I have a single Americano with caramel sauce. It has to be the real caramel, and cream. So
Okay.
that's my order.
Now, during the summer, you're not deviating. You're not doing an iced version. You're a hot coffee drinker.
I'm a hot coffee drinker.
Okay. There's not. I drink. Yeah. I am a black coffee all the time. That's
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. So the other question I always ask in tandem to this, and once again, I want you to kind of put your thinking cap on. Lunchtime. You're going to pull me off of the I-5 corridor, though, I guess, unless you tell me there's some place that I need to check out. But where's some great places for lunch?
Oh, again, that one could be an all-day thing. Our restaurant scene is magical, especially the fact that we have so many restaurants and chefs that are utilizing local Skagit Valley produce and items that are grown here. Our berries, our vegetables, things like that they're integrating into their menus. It's just spectacular. The seafood, Taylor Shellfish is just right up the road here. Yep. So let's see, I'll start in Anacortes, of course. During the summer, the rooftop bar out at Majestic is phenomenal. The views are amazing. The food is great. Anacortes is really, in the last, probably 3 to 5 years, some of the restaurants they have are just phenomenal, known as Italian. And the list could go on, and I'm going to get in trouble for naming names. La Conner, oh my gosh, quaint, again, a little waterfront. They're right on the channel. Nelthorne, phenomenal food. I've never ever had a bad meal there. La Conner Seafood and Prime Rib. They've just done some spectacular things there. The brewery in La Conner. Chuckanut Drive. You've got, Chuckanut Manor has the absolute best. We'll just go up for lunch and have oyster Rockefeller. I meant spectacular. I'm getting hungry now. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
We really, if you want authentic Mexican food, Koa's kind of a go-to for us. Viri and her team do amazing. She's got restaurants in La Conner and Mount Vernon and Bellingham.
So if you go there, what are you grabbing? What's your lunchtime dish for Mexican? What do you like?
I do the enchiladas with the poblano sauce.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And then I just eat a little bit, and then I have leftovers for dinner.
Perfect. Yeah. So what you're telling me is that I have an abundance of choices.
You have an abundance of choices, and I haven't even made it to Burlington or Cedar Woolley or Bow.
I'm trying to think. This trip I took over the North Cascades, I came over. We actually came over on opening day, not because we wanted to be special, but because I was taking my son up to Bellingham, and so that turned into I had to take him to Blaine. So I dropped him off in Blaine, and I stayed in Burlington overnight, and I drove back the next day, and I ate at some little cafe in Cedar Woolley for breakfast, and I wish I could remember the name of it. And I hadn't been in Cedar Woolley since I was a kid, and that downtown is pretty cool. And I like the wood carvings everywhere and all that. But I ate at this unnamed local, and I was the only guy in there that didn't look like I was a logger. I mean, it was, and I kind of look like a logger, so but it was obvious I wasn't the local. And I think I'm still full from that meal 6 months later. I mean, it was just crazy.
Yeah.
But I also, the other thing that I did that day that I had never been to was the Northern State Hospital, and I walked around the grounds and how interesting to me that place is, both how well it's maintained in the sense like the pathways to walk are great. And, I meandered around probably for an hour, and I'm not a great photographer, but I took what I think are some really cool photos. I got lucky, blind squirrel can find a net once in a while. I got lucky with great photos there. And, I just had that's a very storied place.
Yes, it is.
And I think it's interesting. But really why we agreed, we were working together and we're way off target. So I'm going to force myself to go back to target. The reason you and I were going to talk today is we wanted to talk about the holiday season here in Skagit County. Because once again, I have a layman's view of Skagit County. I think of the Tulip Festival. That's the kind of, to me, the iconic thing of Skagit County, which it probably is, because you guys have those amazing tulip fields.
Yeah.
But I think I've been missing out and sleeping on the holidays up there.
We've got a lot going on. We have, and I've been, obviously I have this position now. When I travel, I look through with a different lens. And so I come back and I realize we just have so many special places and places that I think people don't get to experience. So all of our downtowns are so unique and so special. And so all of these holiday festivities, I know that so many communities do great tree lightings and do all of the things, but I think that we have something that, folks don't get in some of the bigger cities. You really do. Cedar Woolley is doing this weekend their Hallmark Christmas, where they've got, some local markets, and Santa's going to light they have a giant, when I say giant, probably 50-foot tree in the center of town that's in the street. It's just in the middle of the street, and they'll light that up and do their parade. Downtown Mount Vernon has their lighted Christmas parade on Sunday, and Burlington lights the tree. Everybody just has these really cool holiday traditions that they do. La Conner does a lighted boat parade where the boats come by with all lit up, and that's so cool. Anacortes has their crab pot tree to that is just, it's built with crab pots to really honor the tradition of our fishermen and our crabbers in the area, and then just all of the local shopping from all of these folks that live and work in our community that own these small businesses that we can support. And so a lot of these holiday things are just so special. We've got this weekend that our Children's Museum puts on this huge winter wonderland, and that includes reindeer and Santa Claus, and they truck snow in from Mount Baker, and it's a pretty epic and spectacular event that we hope people from all over travel to come. So I think the holidays are pretty special. here. So.
Well, on the Skagit Valley, the Visit Skagit Valley website, you've got this article on holiday magic in the Skagit Valley, your ultimate winter escape, and I'm chuckling because I'm in Wenatchee right now, right, and that's where I live, and we're recording this in early December, and I don't have any snow on the ground, and one of the headlines is winter hiking and snowshoeing in the Skagit Valley. Once again, never think of snowshoeing in Skagit. I just don't think of it, but yet. Go east. There we are.
Yeah, you've got we've got the North Cascades Mountains, right?
Yeah.
45 minutes to an hour drive east of us. So
Yeah.
lots of different, snowmobiling activities. There's some cross country skiing, snowshoeing
Do you
opportunities.
do any of that? Is that?
I have. It's not top on my list. I will say I'm more of a warm weather person.
Okay.
So, but if I have the right people that are taking us out, we will do it.
So
but
you have a choice:
yeah.
snowmobiling, cross country skiing, or snowshoeing. What are you going to pick?
Probably cross country skiing. That's pretty fun. I do like that.
Okay. Are you a downhill skier at all? Do you go up to Baker?
I used to be.
Okay.
I have not done that in years. My husband is an assistant basketball coach, so usually from about the 1st of December to March, we are at basketball games on the weekends, and so that's kind of what we do.
Okay. All right.
And I have a grandbaby now, so grandma can't be getting hurt on the hill.
You've got responsibilities.
I've got responsibilities.
Awesome. So we have on our website, we have a statewide events calendar, and we are able to import things from other organizations' events calendars. Basically, it's stealing, but we're not profiting from it in the sense that we're just trying to help amplify the word out for everybody. But one of the places that we get a lot of events from is your children's museum up there. What, in your opinion, makes that place so prolific and special? Because there's a lot of children's museums around the state, and I don't get as much content from other museums as we seem to get from that museum.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that museum?
This museum, our staff is absolutely incredible. Kate has been with the museum, I think since day one. She is phenomenal. Kate and her team, they know what they're doing. They have curated and created an atmosphere that people want to be. They have added programs that fit our community. It's just, they've really done a great job with that place. So, we love obviously taking our little grandson there, and, they've got a Peterbilt truck inside and a tugboat and, all of these really cool things where kids get to actually climb inside and experience some of the things that we have in our valley.
So you're telling me that they've got a Peterbilt truck and they let the kids climb on this thing?
In it and drive it and honk the horn and push the buttons. Yeah.
All right. So I need to warn you that I am totally teasing when I say this now. Okay. So this is attempted humor. Don't take me seriously. But what is with you guys up there? And I say that because one of my big takeaways at the Northern State Museum was the old barns. Yes, they say do not enter, but there's nothing stopping you from entering the barns. Well, people are going to walk, right? And so I'm walking through these buildings, and I almost got hit in the head, and not complaining. I'm just saying I almost got hit in the head because a piece of pipe was hanging down. So these are in today's sanitized world where everything is, plexiglassed off and we can't touch anything. Up in Skagit County, I can go walk through abandoned barns that have pipes hanging down, and you're letting kids play in trucks. What's going on up there?
Well, I meant the truck is not going anywhere, and they've made it safe. And no, it gives these kids, it is phenomenal. I mean, when they first started, I remember when they first started having the conversations about it, and we thought, like, this is the absolute coolest thing ever. I mean, how often do kids get to climb up into a semi truck and see what it looks like inside and play with it? It's phenomenal.
And I think that's awesome. I think we have gone so far to protect ourselves from ourselves that we've taken exploring out of the equation. So I'm just laughing because, believe me, when I came back from that trip, yes, I wasn't completely blown away by the North Cascades, but I was also more surprised by the fact that I could walk around these buildings that had broken glass and beams hanging down and rotting wood, and they're amazing, and it's not a complaint. And I hope that they don't ever sanitize that space. And it's not unsafe. I don't mean like that.
Yeah,
but in today's day and age, it's like, oh my God, it's not Disneyland.
Yeah. The history of that place is, it's just fun to walk around and think like, oh my gosh, what was this like, 30 years ago, 40 years ago?
Well, even more than that. But I mean, it's just crazy. So I'm just teasing that, Skagit County, you guys, I like this. You're letting them play in trucks and go in barns and all of that.
Yeah.
The tugboat, now, are you telling me it's a full size? Is this a working tug that they brought indoors, or is this a replica?
I think at one time it was. It's the shell, and they have it set, and there's stairs that you climb up to go on the stairs, and you can go in and drive it. And it's pretty fun.
Why do kids get to have all the fun? Why can't we do that? Come on.
Hey, my husband and I go up and climb around with. There's no signs that say no parents, no grandparents.
All right. I like this. Help me out, because I've mentioned this multiple times about how my narrow perception is the I-5 corridor. What am I missing up there? I'm not trying to put you on the spot and say, but for somebody, so the listener that's sitting, they're listening to this podcast, and maybe they're in Seattle or Spokane, maybe down in Vancouver, maybe in Tri-Cities, and they're thinking about, we want to do a weekend getaway, and sure, we've all heard of Anacortes, we've all heard of Mount Vernon, and those are awesome. But what aren't people aware of that they're missing out on?
Oh gosh, there are probably a ton of things that we could talk about. There's Edison, this cute little town that's got the bread farm that makes just incredible, bread and pastries and things like that, using local, flours from some of our local flour mills, and some great little restaurants. There's an amazing barbecue place, Brando's Barbecue, Cobbin, I think it's Cobbin Cork, who just this amazing farm to table restaurant that is just, out in this amazing scenery where you can see the water and the mountains, and just these small little experiences. And then you can go out to the Chuckanut Highway and drive up, and the hiking is incredible. I don't think people understand the opportunities that we have, not just up in the North Cascades, but all over the valley, where you can go up Oyster Dome and get some amazing vistas. And if you're not a huge hiker, you can go to Little Mountain and get some amazing views of the Puget Sound area to the west. So there's so much water activity as well up here on the Skagit River, right? We have the scenic, wild and scenic Skagit River with all of our bald eagles. Our birding is, second to none. Right now we're kind of in the thick of it with our bald eagles, our trumpeter swans, and snow geese, where you can just see literally thousands and thousands and thousands of snow geese and trumpeter swans in fields. And when they, get up and fly away, just listening to that is something that you just don't ever forget. And even as someone who's seen it, my whole life, I just still kind of stop and go, wow, this is really cool to see. So I think that there's a lot of things that, are just kind of go under the radar just a little bit.
All right. Now, you have more than one kids, right?
Yep, I have 2 daughters.
So the next question's the equivalent of asking you which one's your favorite child. Okay. But if I'm putting you on the spot, and I'm going to ask you to give me your opinion, and there's no wrong answer, and you are only speaking for yourself. Okay.
Okay.
what is the best time of year to go to Skagit County
Oh, gosh.
for you? Like if you moved away, I'm going to transplant you to New York City. 5 years later, you get to come back. When would you want to come back for you yourself?
That's really hard because I love the tulips. I really, really, I mean, as much, we are partners at a farm, and
Sure.
I still, every time I walk out and I just look at those, you just get this sense of calm and peace. But I also love summer.
Okay.
I love summer, those clear days where it's sunny and you can walk out. And so
Okay.
I don't know if I can give you an answer.
All right.
I like the spring and the summer.
Spring and summer. Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask why, historically, why did the Skagit Valley tulips, how did they, I mean, they're not native there. So what's the history of tulips in the Skagit Valley?
Well, I think that we are, pretty similar in our climate, and the soil is very similar
Okay.
for growing tulips. And so we had a lot of the, Dutch immigrants that came over and realized that they could grow, tulips here. Our soil is so fertile, and it just really lent itself to, being a productive crop, and
It's interesting to me because you think of Skagit Valley and you think of the tulips, you think of the Puyallup Valley and you think of daffodils, and it's just interesting how these areas have niched down to you grow daffodils up there, but you're not known for them. And Puyallup Valley grows tulips, but they're not known for them. But it's just interesting to me, and how a region anywhere, anywhere, it's like Wenatchee apples. It's how did we become? I mean, we claim we're the apple capital of the world, but I mean, we can claim a lot of things, but anyway, I just think it's interesting to me how at the county levels, we've got in Washington State, we've got 39 different counties. They have their own personalities. They have their own strengths. They have their own, quirks and oddities that somebody who's never been to Skagit County might go, what? And yet if you go to Stevens County, you're like, what? And it's just interesting to me.
Yep.
And so like when I get to talk to people, especially someone like yourself, who's your day job is promoting your county. I mean, you're out there championing Skagit County. From a tourism standpoint, where do most of the tourists to Skagit County come from?
Majority of our tourists come from the Seattle metro area.
Okay.
A large part of that, the data that we're seeing is about 56% are coming to that Seattle metro. And then Portland is right underneath that.
Really?
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that is,
how about from Canada down?
We have not seen the Canadian market come back since COVID, like it was.
Okay.
So it's certainly something that we're looking at, and we're certainly putting some of our advertising towards, but have not seen some of that.
Because isn't it Vancouver approximately about the same distance as Seattle is? So okay.
Yep, just with the border crossing. And,
right.
Yeah.
Interesting though. And so you're saying that post-COVID that the Canadians haven't resumed traveling, at least down to Skagit.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, just haven't seen those numbers come back.
How about internationally? Do you have is there an international component to visitors?
Yeah, we do have. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but we do have a decent amount of international travel, and we work with the state of Washington Tourism pretty closely on some of those international traveler opportunities. So we'll be doing some trade shows and identifying that. So the state really kind of takes on that international,
Right.
I think, marketing for us, and we just work closely with them. But we do have folks, especially during the Tulip Festival, we have people from all over the world that are
Yes.
coming to visit the Tulip Festival.
It's certainly iconic.
And also the North Cascades National Park is a big one for us, where we're getting people traveling from all over.
Right. Yeah, once again, I just can't believe I never went over that thing. It's just like so amazing that it's in our state, and it's so just jaw-dropping up there. And I hope to spend more time up there this next year in the spring, to go back up.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. I think I said this before we hit record. One of the things my wife and I like to do is we're music fans. So we love to go see live music, and in Conway of all places, the Conway Muse. And you've obviously been there,
Yep.
right? And what a great little venue with 3 different options to, 3 little separate performance areas. And we were up there September, and lovely little venue. It held about 100 people in the dairy barn.
Yeah, it's a really cool little facility. She's done such an amazing job. So
with the little art gallery there in the back, and really commend it. Well, I have not been, but I want to ask, because a musician that I enjoy, his name is Dave Alvin. He played up at the Mount Vernon Theater.
The Lincoln Theater?
Yes. Our
historic Lincoln Theater is amazing.
Yeah. And I didn't go to that show, and I wanted to. But what can you tell me about that building? Sell me on going to live music at that building.
Well, live music, they have stuff going on almost every day of the year at the Lincoln. Our historic Lincoln Theater is one of the coolest theaters that I have ever been in. It's been around since oh God, I don't even want to say the year because I'm gonna get that wrong, but they've got the oldest working Wurlitzer organ.
What?
It's just this really cool historic theater where they do live plays with some of our local theater production crews. They do movie shows. They do a lot of our chorales and things show there. They have live bands and performances going on. So it is so rich and incredible with some of the arts and entertainment in our community.
That's awesome. We're going to wrap this up, but I want to ask you a couple of questions really quick. When you're not sitting in the chair, when you're not the CEO, what do you like to do? You already mentioned your husband's a basketball coach, so your winter hours are spent in the stands. But what do you and your husband like to do for recreation?
So we volunteer a lot in our community. We're both members of our Rotary Club, so we're pretty active in our community. Volunteer with our the local 4-H, Horse 4-H, and my daughter and son-in-law rodeo. So we follow them on the rodeo trail during the summer. So I use that opportunity to check out, other amazing destinations and kind of see what other people are doing, and maybe things that we can bring back to Skagit Valley.
So do both of them participate in rodeo? Mm-hmm. So what are they competing in?
My son-in-law is a steer wrestler.
Okay.
And my daughter is a barrel racer.
Wow. My wife's young nephews, they're kids. They're doing junior rodeo, but they're doing bull riding and all this. And,
fun.
And their mom is, I think she's kind of the type of parent that's like, I can't look. I can't look. And then, and so they're traveling all around. I mean, they were in, Coulee City
we did that one.
You've been to Coulee City, all around the state. Rodeo is, if you're a satellite, you don't think of rodeo. I mean, yet when you get outside of the city centers of Washington State, rodeos
Yeah, and we've got one of the best. We do a July 3rd and 4th rodeo up here in Cedar Woolley. It's a PRCA sanctioned rodeo and
Okay.
part of the Logger Rodeo, which is one of the longest going Fourth of July celebrations in the state of Washington.
Oh, really?
The Yeah, big parade and wood carving and yeah, big rodeo. We had some visitors in from Wales over the summer, and we took them to the rodeo, and I saw them in September when I was over in Wales, and it was the highlight of their trip was going to the rodeo in Cedar Woolley. So they thought that that was the coolest thing.
So when you say Wales, all I can think now is Ted Lasso,
Oh,
and not even Ted Lasso, but Wrexham. Because I think of
oh, yep,
I think of Ted Lasso and Wrexham kind of interchangeably there. But
yep.
Wrexham, did you by chance did you go?
We talked about it, but we just couldn't fit it into our schedule. It was for a Boys and Girls Club
Okay,
trip, and so we were visiting some clubs, but we just couldn't squeeze it
yeah,
into our itinerary.
it's so funny. Here we're talking about Skagit County, and yet
I
Wrexham.
know,
Just
I know,
what?
I know, I know.
How the world is shrunk. All
Yeah.
right, now I warned you about this. Okay, now I warned you
Okay.
about this question. When you have
Okay.
to answer it, are you going to agree?
I will answer it.
You have to explain why.
Okay.
All right, very important.
Okay.
Cake or pie?
Oh, probably pie.
Okay, why?
I just am not. I'm not a cake person. I think pie. I like it has either apple pie or like a cherry pie. I like the fruit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's no wrong
So
answer here.
yeah,
Yeah.
with a homemade crust.
Okay. So apple or cherry, homemade,
Yeah, yeah.
with or without ice cream?
Um, with homemade whipped cream.
Oh,
I make a homemade whipped cream.
okay. Solid. So the joke here is that some people answer it super easily, and some people are like, "You're asking me to pick between children. I can't."
Yeah.
And it's gotten easier for people. I think it's I got to figure out how to make it harder, make you sweat more for it.
Yeah.
But I heard this question and I was like, it's so silly. But at the same time, so follow-up question. Growing up, you grew up in Oak Harbor?
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, family gatherings and all that. Did you guys have cake or pie?
I think my aunt did a lot of pies.
Okay.
I remember her being a pie lady. I mean, we did have birthday cakes and
Sure.
things like that, but I remember pie a lot.
See, and that's what I'm finding is that the decision is almost always, excuse me, childhood.
Yeah.
It's almost what our families did.
Yeah.
If you came from a cake family, you're just camp cake, and if you pie was the thing, it's pie. Also,
Yeah.
proximity to fresh fruit, so that anyway. So apple or cherry? Any no good pie? Any?
I don't like pecan pie.
Okay.
We had one for Thanksgiving and I tried it again. I'm like, yeah,
Nope.
I don't think I like it.
Yeah, pumpkins mine are like pumpkins. No bueno. Yeah. No. Okay. All right. We've covered a lot. I think that I learned a lot, which is always the important thing for me, is that I learned something about the person I'm talking to and the place that we're talking about. But I still feel like I'm missing something. So I want you to give me one last takeaway. Skagit County.
Okay.
Give me the sales pitch for Skagit County.
So I think Skagit County is that amazing, rural, small towns, communities that you can come to that really have a little bit of everything. And, we want you to come up here and experience the way that we live and, see things. Obviously we want you to leave it better than you found it. We want to make sure that we're practicing, sustainable tourism so that we're not ruining the place that we live in by just opening the floodgates. But I think that just experiencing a different pace of life, right? Just things are, just things are a lot of history, a lot of, people think of rural and they think, oh, they don't have anything. And we are rural, but we have the arts and culture. We have the outdoor recreation. We have the amazing scenic views, the amazing food, and you know, all of that. And it's just, you get a little bit of everything here in Skagit Valley. Again, from the water to the mountains, and everything in between. We really got it all. So we encourage you to, our tagline is discover the magic of Skagit. So that's
There
what
we go.
we invite you to come do.
Well, Kristen, thank you for sitting down with me today. I'm looking forward to my next visit there, because it'll probably be to the Conway Muse, because my friends are going to be playing up there again, and that will bring me, as long as the passes cooperate, because I choose to hibernate and not drive over them very much if I don't absolutely have to. But lovely. It's lovely up there, and I do genuinely enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to my next visit, and now I've got some coffee shops to check out that I haven't checked out before. So I appreciate that. And again, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. I'm glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.